and basic agricultural goods produced by developing countries, there are only 4 or 5 Western multinationals that buy all those goods. And they collude between them. So if you take any major product, these Western multinationals, they collude between them. Even if we go down to banana production, we had a PhD done here at the ISS, and the person showed that the 4 or 5 major multinationals, they collude, and in order to make sure their control is total, what they do is they force all the producers to produce the same uniform banana. You know, the crap you buy in the West and has no taste at all. You go to any developing country, you know how a banana tastes, don't you? There's so many of them, lots of varieties, but we only market 1 or 2 types, so we have control, you see. If you don't produce at the price I want you to produce, I go to the next country. You see, we get control. So these buyers, they impose that control, and they keep pushing the prices down and down and down. Okay, this is the game. No one says anything about it. There are no commissions of inquiry to say, this is illegal, what you're doing. The WTO has nothing to say about this. But sorry to say, you know, if banana prices rose 10 times, especially for people like me who love bananas, okay, I protest. I like my living standards. Okay? It's the same with all the other raw materials, you see. We're all benefiting, we're complicit. We're actually complicit in this because we will protest and shout out if the situation ever changed.
International Economic Institution.
WTO. We always think evil creatures, horrible. It's not. It's just economics. It's economic warfare. The rich declare war on the poor. It happens everywhere. It happens in a country. The rich control the government. Of course they do. You really believe you have democracy? Come on. You know, I mean, grow up. This is not about people living in democratic systems. What we have is the rich control. The rich set up these institutions explicitly to control the poor countries. And they don't give them much room for maneuver. Which incidentally, when the IMF starts talking of poverty alleviation, you should also understand that there's another game there also starting to play, which I'm going to come back to later. But what do these institutions do? What does the IMF do? What is structural adjustment about? It's about making sure countries keep producing what we want them to produce. We make sure they have recurrent balance of payments problems. You notice these countries never get out of balance of payments problems. You notice that? Whereas countries that never took IMF support are always out of balance of payments problems. But the countries that are continuously getting advice and support by the IMF, they're always in balance of payments problems. Why? Because that's the way we keep our strength. One of the most important things is we destroy food self-sufficiency. Okay, and the World Bank continued it. They forced most countries to eliminate all food subsidies and food support. Okay, because once you don't produce your own food, I increase my control over you. How do we know this? Well, very funny thing happened some years ago. Not so funny, actually. It involved starvation of a large number of people in Malawi. Okay? Many of you could remember this because it was really tragic. But the Malawian finance minister, who was under terrible threat at the time, suddenly broke ranks and he said, well, you know why we had this famine? Because one of the conditions of the loan given by the World Bank was we destroyed all our grain surplus stocks. Why? Because remember, we want you dependent. 1970s, the US Senate, the US Congress said, we will not allow Latin America to produce their own food. We will start a strategy involving the IMF and the World Bank to destroy food self-sufficiency of Latin America then they will indeed be our true backyard. And that's exactly what they've done. Look at all the Latin American countries. Look at them. They used to be food self-sufficient, but they're no longer food self-sufficient. Now here comes the kicker. This is the beautiful part of it. I congratulate them. You know, I admire them because they do it so well. Okay? I know it sounds really perverse, but we have now in the WTO something called the Agreement on Agriculture. Okay? You know what that Agreement on Agriculture states? It says, if you don't have any subsidies, you're not allowed to put these subsidies on food. But if you have subsidies and income support for food production, you can keep them. Who has all the subsidies and income support? US, Europe. The largest budgets in the world for supporting their farmers are Europe and US. But the World Bank and IMF have destroyed all those subsidies. You see, all those subsidies have been destroyed. And now we're telling these countries, you don't have subsidies? Tough luck, you know. You see, we're keeping them dependent. We're keeping them on a string.
Hello everyone, this is Eli from Africa and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna do this video of Nicholas Howard, a very known lecturer from the Sri Lanka, who is a social scientist. And today in this video he exposes how the West have been exploiting us, the Sub-Saharan and the whole of Africa, just for them to survive. They know without us they can survive. And let's just discuss whatever Nicholas Howard is bringing home. In this video we are going to we have realized and we are learning so many things, that whatever mess is happening in Africa is majorly caused by the West, and it is just the conflict of interest. That's why we have so many chaos in Africa. And just as he has said, without us, without Africa, the West cannot survive because they depend on us for so many things. Their companies won't survive without us. They need our raw materials. They need so many things from us. They know we got the minerals, we got everything, and they are using that as to our advantage. And they know we elect poor leaders, and who they perpetuate them to land into power so that they can be used by them. And Richard Howard says that it is so fundamental for the global prosperity, because we are so fundamental for the global prosperity. For the West to prosper, we must be there. Africa must be there with our resources. Industrialization couldn't have taken place if there was no Africa. So they depend on us for so many other things. He has just exposed them. And from Nicholas Howard, you're going to realize that the corruption in Africa, the wars in Africa, poor leadership in Africa, the poor state of African countries and development is majorly caused by them. And this is why they have that interest. So many countries are fighting in Africa, and you can see some of them taking sides just to mean they know whatever they want. They are supporting some wars, they are supporting some conflicts, they are supporting some other rebel leaders just for them to survive, for them to get whatever they want, to get the minerals, to get everything. And they know if we get united and if we get them exposed, they won't maneuver, they won't go anywhere without us. That's why they must, and they will always make sure Africa is under their control. They must make sure our leaders sign agreements, sign contracts with them, take loans with them, so that we just remain under their captivity. Richard Howard has come out boldly to say how our minerals won't support us Africans. Our minerals won't be of that importance to us because they are used somewhere else because of our leaders, because of corruption, and they take them because we have weak leadership. They have taken control of Africa, and they must keep us poor, because if we have so many things, if we produce, if we manufacture our own very products, their market will go down, their industries will close. So for them to survive, they must need us. We must stay poor. That's why they support so many wars. They support corrupt leaders to lead us. You know why? So that we remain poor forever, so that they do not lose the power, the control they had before we got our independence. We are not fully independent. This just shows how we are maneuvered, how we are controlled, and how we are being fooled around, how they are playing with our minds. This is just a horrible situation. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know whatever you think of this video, of whatever is going on in Africa, in the comment section. And if you think our poor state, our underdevelopment is caused by that, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys. I love you so much. And if it's the first time you are coming across this channel, consider subscribing, and let's move on.